I'm going around to all the UK supermarkets to see what you can buy for £5 in 2024. Today I'm at the supermarket that claims you can get more for less, Morrisons. Now I'm not someone who shops at Morrisons quite regularly, in fact I rarely shop there at all. I get my petrol there because it's cheapest around me, but that's pretty much it. So I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with what I was going to buy today. The only thing I did kind of have an idea about was I was going to get some eggs. I'm making a move for some eggs. All I know is that I want some eggs. A, that counts as my protein, and B, I feel like there's a fair bit that you can do with eggs. £1.50 for 6? That ain't bad. I didn't know what I was going to buy or put with these eggs, but what I ended up getting, some cherry tomatoes. I found this tin of rice pudding for 25p. I wanted to use as little in my pantry as possible this time, so I did buy some milk, which, in fair play to Morrisons, it comes in this really neat little carton now. So, you know, good for the environment. And then I found this instant noodle packet and rounded it off with some Crumpets. So this is my haul, and it didn't seem too bad at all. It really didn't seem too bad at all. I was quite impressed with the amount I got, but I was thinking to myself after I shopped, because again, I didn't go in with a plan. I was a bit, what could I make with all of this that's actually quite interesting? Now, you know me when it comes to these challenges, like, yes, you could buy a kilo of oats, yes, you could buy a load of potatoes. Where's the fun in that, you know? I want to make things that are interesting. Like, sure, we could buy a load of oats and live for, you know, days and days and days off just a load of oats, but to me that's not really very interesting. And you guys, obviously you want to see a little bit more, right? But anyway, I did my shopping the evening before and I started my morning off right. And by that I mean I made pancakes. Now, we've made things like banana pancakes and things on this channel before, but I have never made proper pancakes, so this is my little recipe. 70 grams of flour, 2 eggs. Slowly pour in about 100 millilitres of milk until you get a really nice smooth batter, and there you go, that's it. I've seen people put like sugar in their pancake batter before, but I don't think that's necessary. Then just to fatten a pan, whether it's oil or I like to use a little bit of butter because it just adds that little tiny bit of depth of flavour, unsalted of course, and cook them up sort of a few minutes on each side. Now, I guess what I'm making is sort of in between a pancake and a crepe. This is kind of a nice in between, which is just a good old traditional British pancake. And I missed Shrove Tuesday Pancake Day, so this was a win for me. Didn't have any maple syrup, which is a shame, but it's so expensive these days anyway. But I found some golden syrup and I put some on there. And if you think that's a lot of golden syrup, you're right, I just really like sugar. And needless to say, these were really, really yummy. They were just really good. Really good. There's just, you can't go wrong with a well-made pancake. You just can't. Whether you put maple syrup on it, golden syrup, put some bananas and blueberries on there, or even just lemon juice and sugar, perfect. Then it came to lunch, and what better to make than a big old omelette? That was the plan going in anyway, but we'll see in a second kind of what happened. It started off strong. I cut up a load of the tomatoes that I had and half the onion, and then started to cook that all up together. I then did add into it, I had a little bit of pepperoni left over and also cut up a little bit of cheese that I had. I put the pepperoni in and just kind of combined it all together until it was nicely cooked off. 3 eggs into a measuring jug with a little bit of milk, mix that all up together and then pour it in. Once that had cooked off a bit, I always then add my cheese into it and then the cheese just kind of then melts. And then normally at this point, I would fold the omelette over, but I'm going to tell you a secret. I've never been good at making omelettes. So, as per natural for me, this just ended up kind of being a bit more of a scramble, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know what I did wrong. I let it cook for ages, and when I just flipped it, just didn't. I think maybe it might have been a bit too heavy with the tomato that I put in it. Maybe I should have kept all the tomato on one side. I don't know. Either way, I just had a bit of a messy, eggy scramble. You know what? It was still really tasty. And I got out the sauce, which I knew would go with it best. A bit of tomato ketchup. Now, I'm not big on tomato ketchup. I don't really like it much at all. In fact, in my eyes, in my opinion, there are only two things that tomato ketchup should go on. One of those is an omelette, and the other, call me crazy, fish pie. Don't knock it till you try it. Have some tomato sauce on your fish pie, and you won't regret it. I then kind of decided that evening, I don't know if I want noodles. I just didn't really fancy noodles for dinner, and so I didn't have them. I just had dinner with Carolina as normal. But I did then decide, let's try this 25p tin of rice pudding. So I opened it, and you know, I was quite surprised by it. It came out and there was a lot of sort of cream to rice pudding ratio going on there. Served it all up with a nice dollop of strawberry jam. Take it away, Kitchen Sam. Tell us about your rice pudding. Thanks, Sam. So, on first glance, this doesn't seem too bad at all. I will say, the kind of cream to rice ratio, a little bit to be desired, but for 25p, considering the cheapest can of rice pudding, like the usual brand Ambrosia or something, was about £2.25, £2 more, this looks good. This does not look bad at all. I genuinely feel if you gave me a bowl of this and a bowl of Ambrosia, probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It is honestly not bad at all. And for 25p, I think this is really good. Some things these supermarkets do genuinely get right. And this is one of them. Then I got to the following day and I had crumpets. I had 6 crumpets. What can I say about crumpets? They're great. You normally just have a bit of butter on them, but this is me we're talking about, peanut butter and jam. Yeah, so if you're a fan of this channel by now, you'll probably understand how much I enjoy peanut butter and jam, even on a crumpet. I do appreciate I didn't buy too much to like make anything too particularly fancy or exciting from Morrisons for this. But I've got that packet ramen left and I've got an egg left, and I'm just going to show you when I have these packet ramens, just what I do to make it that little bit better. And it usually involves making my own sauce and more peanut butter. This is me kind of showing you what I do when I have ramen noodles. And spoiler alert, I never make them into the actual ramen soup. I don't like the ones that you get from a packet. So here's what I do. I used that final egg, I boiled it 7 minutes to have it sort of a bit jammy but also partly cooked, so that's how I like it. Pop that into a little ice bath just to cool down while I do everything else. Now into that same water, I then put my noodles and let them cook for 5 minutes in the packet that it said, alongside the soup powder that it had, which then gives those noodles a bit of seasoning and a bit of flavour. While that's all going on, I make my own sauce. Now what I did is a bit of peanut butter, quite a bit of peanut butter, you want it to melt and get really umptious and scrumptious. Bit of soy sauce, and I also put the oil that came in the ramen pack into this as well. A little bit of honey, and then sort of half a ladle of water. This would be enough. I would say this would be enough, and those are all ingredients which I imagine a lot of people should have in their houses. That then will turn into a nice thick sauce if you cook it for long enough, which you can then strain your noodles, put it in, and just kind of have its own nice sauce. I always, as a staple, we've got so many different like Asian sauces and things which we just keep in the house as standard. That is just how Carolina and I live. We just have all of these things. So I then proceeded to put in a little bit of fish sauce, just a few drops, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, and a teaspoon of gochujang. And gochujang is like a red pepper, a hot red pepper paste that has a bit of sweetness to it, and you can use it to make some really, really lovely sauces. It's not a niche ingredient. All of these you can buy at Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, anything like that. They're all so common these days, you just need to look down the world aisle. I then strain my noodles so I don't keep any of the water for it. Pop those noodles into the sauce, let it get a really nice thick coating, which is really lovely. Serve that in a bowl. Put my egg in there, cut in half, and a bit of spring onion, and you have got such a lovely lunch. Now if I was making it for dinner, I'd probably add a bit of protein. I'd maybe like do a chicken thigh or maybe a bit of pork. This is a good lunch. It's tasty, it's yummy. And look, I've still got a load of tomatoes left, half an onion, and 4 crumpets. So, you know, we did really well. We did really well. But as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, all of the above. And I'll see you next time.